Shubor nakaslem jong unongsan Hima.
Menteri Rangba ke jela Conrad Sangma hene kasngi ulalum ya barok ki Seng balang bat ki kenhun Traimon ngobha ban pentip syaki habaya dai berkejingya penbej pun bat ke jela Asam. Habakaran berkinong tok khubor hadin kejingalang Conrad Sangma ulaong kejingya kenduk bat ki kenhun baper kalong ban pentip habaya dai berkejingya penbej pun bat ke jela Asam. Kamtam hakin riu teli ki Jaka. Menteri Rangba ulayuturo Bana kaliang jong ki kenhun baper kila ai jingmut syak sorkar bat kila ongru ba ki pajba ki basyong basa ha kitu ki Jaka ki dai bandon bentalang ha kene ka kenhun Conrad ula kamru ba ka jingelang bat kini ki kenhun baper kalong ka bajam shu ula ongru ba ka jingkhot jongki ya ki nongelam jongki kenhun baper ka dai ba usngau ba ka don kam ba kintip ha bai dai bat kani ula ongru ba ha kini ki khendiat sngi unsa khodru ik Seng san berthai man pen ngau syaki habai dai bat ka kaipot jong ka ni ka jing ya pen bej pun bat ka jela Asam
meeting with different stakeholders, the different organizations, NGOs, civil society, our traditional heads, and the objective and the idea of this meeting today was really to give a bit more details about the basic understanding that Meghalaya and Assam have reached on the first 6 locations of the border dispute or the differences that we are having. And we have shared micro details, I should say, with them. We have not been able to give hard copies yet, but more or less I read out the entire details based on the principles that we have agreed on and shared with them about which villages, which particular area, and what ethnicity in which area is there, how we decided on one particular location, one village, whether Tarabari, Kizang, Ahim, what was the way we went forward, whether it's about Bilankata, Khanapara area or Atache area. So we went into all those micro details and we have shared. The organizations had some concerns and they have again given us some more suggestions, and they have all stressed on the fact that the interests of the people living in the border should be maintained and they should be taken on board. They have also stressed that they would like to see the copy and have a copy, and I've told them that as soon as we are able to have the meeting with MHA, then at the appropriate time we will share the copy, for which, as I said, I've given full details to them. So we shared the report, and it was very positive because all the organizations have felt that it is time that we should find some solution to this, and we also expressed to them that there will never be a 100% perfect solution, but we will try to make it as best as possible so that the interests of the people of our state are not compromised in any way. And while we look at all those aspects, we need to try to come to a solution that is going to be acceptable. And as I said, more or less we shared that with them, and most of them expressed positivity in terms of the aspect that the government has at least taken the initiative to move forward, and they stress on the fact that the interests of the people of the state should. I think it's important to involve stakeholders. I had met some of the MLAs from the Congress the other day. I shared the same information to them. I felt it's appropriate to share with the stakeholders because a large number of these organizations have been really, very passionate about this issue. And I think it would be not fair on the government's part to not keep them in line or inform them about the developments taking place. And so, as a civil society and as individuals and stakeholders who are very concerned about this subject, I felt and the cabinet felt that we should call them and share this information to them, and that's why we call them and share the information. We have called the Congress Secretary, we share information, and the other political parties which remain, we will call them also and share the information.
So Chief Minister, we have details about the survey which is being done along the boundaries.
So basically, after we have finalized on the different villages which should be in Assam or should be in Meghalaya, obviously we need to realize or we need to finalize on what would be the actual demarcation of the line. Will it be next to the river? Will it be next to this tree? Will it be next to a reserve forest? Will it be the road? And if it is, then which is the mark? So, Survey of India has been asked by Government of India to coordinate and do joint inspection and joint survey with Government of Assam and Government of Meghalaya, and ensure that we are able to come to some kind of a more micro drawing of the actual line, so that we can actually have a proper boundary in the long run.
When do we expect that this survey will take place?
The process has started already, and so meetings are taking place. There are many locations, so I'm sure it will take a bit of time, but we are pushing them to ensure that full support from both the state governments are there, so that we can finish it at the earliest. Part was to share the information with them and to tell them that how challenging it was to reach to the decision that we reached, how challenging it was for us to be able to carry everybody along and set principles that were there. Certain principles applied in our favor in certain locations. In certain locations, if you apply the same principle, there were some challenges. So to balance all of these aspects in a very complicated picture is what we wanted to share with them. Also, we wanted to share with them that there could be certain concerns that could be raised by people once this comes out, and we wanted to kind of give a heads up to everybody that look, there's some concerns like this, but this is what happened, this is what happened, and this is how it happened. So I think it was important to share all of that, and they're very clear now on certain issues that were there, and that was the purpose really of the. And they've given some suggestions which are not going into the MOU as such or the report as such, but it's more looking at the overall approach to the entire procedure. I think it's wrong to put deadlines, but we are working towards resolving it at the earliest, is what I would like to say. And based on that, certain cess was being collected from 2010 onwards. This is, of course, 12 years back. And the court has seen that, and they have given us necessary order and instructions. And accordingly, the state government will follow those orders.
But will you challenge this?
No, why? We only challenge. We will go ahead with what the court has ordered.
But will this not affect the revenue collection of the state?
It will. There's a certain amount that we have to give, but it will go back to a good cause. So that's fine. We'll go ahead and we will invest the 30% that the court has asked. The Minority Affairs Department, Government of India. It's a Hunar hub, but it's going to be a very large-scale Hunar hub. Approximately, it's about 250 crores plus, and it's going to be one of a kind in the country, where training for especially medical, paramedical individuals and people will be given. And for now, it will serve as a training center for, in fact, the entire Northeast. And in fact, we were told by the Honorable Minister that the Cabinet and even the Honorable Prime Minister was very happy to see this project. And if it goes well in Meghalaya, which is a pilot project, they may expand this in other states also. So it's an important training program, and this will be the first in the country, and it will be in Meghalaya. It's not easy for us to get people who understand the system, know the system, and are able to contribute to the system. It's easy to criticize and say that we are, appointing them and giving them post retirement posts and all these things. But one has to also realize the kind of benefit that we get. We need a lot of coordination with central government in terms of different programs, schemes, in terms of different situations that we face. And therefore, it's very important to have a key person in a location like Delhi who would be able to coordinate all those aspects for us with MHA and Government of India as a whole. So from security aspect. So that's the whole purpose. But yes, some people will criticize. That's fine. But we know what the purpose behind that is, and we're looking at the overall interest of the state. I have not seen about that. So it's not possible for me to comment without seeing what the assumptions. So we have got the panel and the recommendations from Government of India. So at the appropriate time, with recommendations from UPSC. So we will sit down at the appropriate time and decide on how.